Hello mọi người. Chuyện là mình đi về được hơn 1 tuần rồi mà vẫn chưa có một cái video mới nào cả. Thì nếu như mọi người có xem những cái video trước, mình có đi cắm trại 2 tuần ở The Rockies in Canada. Và mình cũng có mua một vài món đồ chơi để có dự tính là quay video ghi lại kỷ niệm. Nhưng mà rốt cuộc thì mình cũng không có quay lại được bao nhiêu hết. Một phần là vì đi chung với một nhóm và mình cảm thấy quá là ngại ngùng. Và phần còn lại là cũng hơi mệt. Cứ liên tục di chuyển, rồi dựng lều, rồi thu dọn mọi thứ, rồi lại di chuyển, rồi đi hiking. Rồi mình cũng quá bận rộn với việc chìm đắm trong cái thiên nhiên hùng vĩ đó, nên là mình cũng thấy hơi tiếc. Nhưng một ngày nào đó chắc mình cũng sẽ quay lại sớm thôi. Maybe là một mình hoặc là với một ai đó. We never know. Sorry cho cái background nhếch nhác và cái đầu tóc hơi rối của mình. Anyway, this is my story. So it doesn't need to be perfect, right? Nobody is perfect. Hey, it's Van. Welcome back to my video. After days of procrastinating, I've finally found the push to post something new. Today, my family told me that no, my oldest furry friend back home has been severely sick for a couple of days. He can't eat, he just lies there and cries. It wasn't a surprise to me. I knew he was old, and I already saw signs of his health problems when I was still with him. We lived together for 8 years, through the highs and the lows of my puberty until I moved to the US. However, hearing this news brought me a wave of emotions and made me reflect on life again. About how fragile it is, about how quickly things can change. And strangely, it reminded me of something I experienced recently, a trip to Canada. At first, I didn't plan to share it, but now I realize that journey gave me some answers. It gave me some space to feel, reflect, and grow. So today, I want to tell you that story and share 5 lessons it taught me about life, about myself, and maybe about letting go. Before we start, I just want to say English isn't my first language, but I really want to improve it. So this video is one of my ways I'm practicing my speaking. Thank you for being here and for listening with kindness. Let's move on to the first part of this video, called What My Trip to Canada Taught Me About Life. I recently went on an amazing trip to Canada. It was my first time visiting the Canadian Rockies and my first time camping in nature. It was unforgettable. This trip changed the way I see nature and maybe even how I see myself. I spent most of my time sleeping in a tent with my roommate. We visited Victoria, Tofino, Whistler, Wells Gray, Jasper, Lake Louise, Banff, and finally Calgary. Oh, and also Vancouver. We stayed for 14 days and camped in the Rockies for 12 of them. It was wild. Of course, camping came with some challenges, like hearing people walking around at night, the wind shaking our tent, the mosquitoes, and the walking 5 minutes just to use the public bathroom. But even with those inconveniences, I learned so much. Here are the 5 lessons I took with me from that trip. 1. Gratitude for the simple things. Camping taught me how lucky I am. At home, I have a warm bed, clean water, a quiet room, and so many things that I take for granted. Out there in the wild, I realize the less you have, the more you appreciate. And personally, I think everyone should go camping at least once, not to escape life, but to learn how to enjoy it more. Lesson 2. Letting go of identity and labels. At the beginning of the trip, I felt lost. Not because I didn't know where I was, but because I didn't know who I was without my job, my routine, and my usual people. It was hard not being able to communicate well, and I felt disconnected. But that discomfort helped me let go of my labels. I stopped trying to be someone and just focused on being. And that was enough. Lesson 3. Teamwork and vulnerability. One of the highlights was a 20-kilometer hike to a glacier. It took almost 9 hours. And at one point, I was sliding on ice with no trees or ropes, just the edge of the mountain. I didn't have hiking boots or poles, and honestly, I thought about giving up. But I didn't. Why? Because I wasn't alone. I'm a loner by nature. I like doing things solo. But that day, I experienced the true power of teamwork, of encouragement, support, and shared strength. And I realized vulnerability connects us more than perfection ever could. Four, fitting in without losing myself. If you know me, you know I can be loud and energetic when I feel safe. But on this trip, I was with a group of Europeans, and I couldn't always understand their English. I felt left out, like I didn't belong. At first, I tried to fit in, but then I realized I don't need to. I can be kind, supportive, and still choose silence. I can walk away when I need space. I can be myself even if that means being different. And that's okay. Lesson 5. Bravery and the shortness of life. I've always been shy, especially as a kid. But this trip made me think about something we usually avoid. Death. Not in a dark way, but in a real, honest way. Realizing that my time here is limited made me braver. It made me want to choose courage, chase what I love, and stop wasting time on things that don't matter. I want to balance stability with adventure. I want to live fully. I didn't expect this trip to change me, but it did. It reminded me that sometimes we need to get lost in nature to truly find ourselves. And when we do, we return stronger, braver, and more connected. Not only to the world, but to ourselves. So, if you ever get a chance, go outside, go far, and go wild, and see what it teaches you. Thank you for watching.